And
Going live.
Okay.
We're all alive.
I did have just a little trouble with my little stopwatch here. All right. Good morning. This is the second half of the morning session for the Senate Natural Resources and Energy Committee. We're continuing testimony on S-258, Act relating to management of fish and wildlife. So we have another half dozen witnesses or guests to hear from this morning. And our first guest is Mr. Lasky. So good morning, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I finally made it. I wasn't able to connect with Zoom, so I was able to make a trip there. I'm in person.
Thank you for making extra effort.
It's clear to me that this bill is an attempt to eliminate our fishing wildlife. Because it's basically allowing people that are totally against hunting, fishing, and trapping to get on the board to make the rules. And we all know that these people would end hunting today, but they're gonna do it one step at a time. We need the death of 1,000 cuts. Hunters have been the tools for fishing wildlife and wildlife management for many decades. It's become a tradition, but tradition aside, wildlife is what's gonna lose if this in place.
And I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to give you a piece of information in case it affects what you want to share with us. The rules under the bill, the rules are no longer written by the board. They're written by the commissioner. So, and the board becomes advisory to the commissioner. I just want to make sure that.
The board has always been more or less an advisory thing. They discuss things in the bottom line, this fishing wildlife make a final. If wildlife isn't managed, we're gonna have the same problem we have with raccoons in Chittenden County. I don't know how much the health organization spends on bait drops, which basically counteracts what Mother Nature is trying to do. And it's gonna happen with other wildlife. It's happened with their deer population. The board was originally created to give hunters a better voice in the process that they were winning time. And I think this is going to revert back to times that we had in the past, and it's not going to do wildlife any good. So I oppose this bill, and I hope most people to.
Okay. Well, your testimony is so brief. Let me ask a quick question. What's going on with raccoons in Chittenden County Village?
Well, they advertise bait drops every summer because of the rabies. So with an overpopulation of raccoons, you're gonna have disease.
Okay.
And it'll happen the same way. Whenever trappers come into a new area, they usually find several coyotes that have got mange. By keeping coyotes going into their environment, they have a better area to disperse to. It's healthier to the animal. It's unfortunate that we have certain circumstances where we have conflict between hunters and the public. And those are issues that definitely need to be resolved. I would like to see everybody that votes on this or has a say in this, take a hunter education course and a trapper's education course, so that new people understand our point of view, where we're at, and why we feel the way we do. I think a lot of decisions are made without the education necessary to make them. And I would like to see that change. More time. And I'd like to recommend that anybody that did not make it on the Zoom call, and I noticed there was quite a few, that they do send their emails in and they let themselves be heard. Unfortunately, I was fortunate enough to be able to make a trip down here and speak.
Right.
The chair's been saying that all morning while you were driving in. You can't make it. Sit in the meeting.
And there's been a little confusion. I think for some people, they have used the YouTube stream.
Correct.
The committee tried to attend. For anyone who received a confirmation of appointment, there's a link that puts you up on that screen where you can speak.
Right, and I'm not sure I got that. I'll have to go back to my email to find out if I access that. Well, I'm not a tech savvy guy.
Well, you can see I was having trouble with my phone, so we're in that same camp there. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me speak.
I feel like I ought to mention for disclosure, I have taken my hunter safety class, been at longbow, and been out turkey hunting. All my times.
You need a badge.
And yes.
So next up is Jean Hunt. Good.
So, Mr.
Good
Haddon,
morning, good morning.
good morning. I did not prepare anything because I didn't sign up to testify, but I'm here in support of the bill and hugely excited that this bill is happening in Vermont, or at least potentially happening. My background is I have a master's degree in environmental studies and wildlife ecology. I worked for the National Wildlife Federation of Vermont. I've taught college level wildlife ecology classes, environmental ethics. I've taught graduate school level ecology classes in Yellowstone National Park. From the time I was 5 years old, I was shoved out the door and I lived in the woods. My father was a duck hunter. I ate ducks for much of my growing up. At some point, he could not kill another bee, so he stopped. So I love wildlife just beyond belief. I live to be outside, and I'm starting to lose my sight, which is the worst thing because I just live to be outside. 90% of my free time is spent looking for wildlife. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a trapper. I'm not a fisher. I am totally not anti-hunting, and whoever wants to believe that is fine. Honestly, I think it's the most honest way to eat meat and probably the most humane. And that being said, I am all about non-cruelty and ethics. And it just stuns me that in this day and age, we don't have some better ethics around this. And I follow weekly on webinars from around the country, around the world. Last week I was on one with academics in China, people from UN talking about the sixth mass extinction. So, you know, the Fish and Wildlife departments, in my mind, and this is happening around the country, need to move on a bit and recognize what's happening ecologically with wildlife around the world. And for somebody to say that I don't belong on a Fish and Wildlife board because I don't hunt or fish or trap. I mean, I have extensive experience. I talk to hunters nonstop because I love to talk wildlife. I could listen to them all day long about their experiences. I am not anti-hunting. I am anti-cruelty, which to me, the hound hunting thing, there's just like absolutely no excuse for that. It's about cruelty. Why would anybody sanction that when we have a choice to not allow that? And we've all grown up with traditions that we wish we still had. I mean, I long for the old days. I refuse to have a cell phone. I just long for the old days of more woods, but it's gone. And we do need to learn and move on. And that's why I do all these webinars. I do them with Western Canada. And I worked in Montana also at the Bear Foundation. So I try to follow things that are going on around the world. Also, there's so much more now that we know about animals and about plants. Fungi, mushrooms have these whole lives that we just dismiss. Trees have these whole lives where they communicate. And I feel like animals are, we look at them as quote resources, as something for us to use. And again, we all eat. So if you're gonna hunt and do it ethically, it's probably the healthiest meat to eat. But the Fish and Wildlife Board, I am not represented there, and I have a right to be represented there. I have as much knowledge, as much experience in the woods. I haven't killed animals directly. And I want my voice represented. I'm not in opposition to hunters, but I want my voice because it is not there. And I do oppose many things that Fish and Wildlife Board does. And I feel like there is, I've seen on Facebook some threats being made. It's really scary to me. There's just, I can talk to any hunter and have very different views. But I want my voice on that wildlife board, and I feel like I deserve to be there, and many other Vermonters too. So thanks a lot, and thanks for introducing me, though. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is Ron La
Long Grenier,
Brennier, thank you, sorry,
thank you.
good morning.
You. Good morning. First off, appreciate you giving me the chance to speak, even though I wasn't on the original list. My name is Ronald Bernier, I live in Bolton, Vermont, I lived there all my life, 66 years. Grew up on a dairy farm and the forest around my home, which is part of the Camel's Hump State Forest now. So I spend a lot of time in the woods, avid hunter, sportsman, and avid volunteer. I work, do a lot of stuff with Fish and Wildlife, education wise, and helping put on, learn hunt programs. And hopefully, last 2 years, we've done an outstanding women's event, only, with Fish and Wildlife. So most of my volunteer time is with the National Wild Turkey Federation, state work chapter in Vermont. We do habitat work on Vermont state lands. We spend our money that we raise to help put forward those programs and education about hunter ethics, hunter learning, food to fork, to food to table, so from forest. And so I'm very concerned about this bill currently, the way it's proposed. Everybody, even if you're a non-hunter, you have the right to apply to be on the board. Whether you get chosen or not, that's not your decision, it's not my decision. It's people above us decision. So it is your responsibility to make sure if you want to be on that board, that you do that job and put forth for that job. We have pretty much the state of Vermont now is Democrat. It's no longer Republican, so you can't say that, well, it's one party or the other. So, I just want to stress that, I don't like the way that you're looking to propose, cutting the number from 14 to 12.
And we've just, so we've heard that, and actually, we looked at an amendment yesterday to increase the number to 15, so there'll be one per county and one at large.
And I don't like that either. I believe there should be one from each county, as currently, thank you, I appreciate that. Listening to that aspect, because I was very nervous about the fact of 4, 4, and 4. And coming from different people, and who knows where the even though it's said in the bill, geographic, location, I believe, I can't remember the exact wording, how it was geography.
Yeah.
But, so that it wouldn't all be from one area, but that was my fear.
Right.
And I don't believe that, if you live in Chittenden County, you should be telling people in Orleans County how they should run, their county.
Right. So just so you know, I mean, I think we will, when we vote on it, it would, I believe, include this new way of describing 5, 5, 5, 15, one per county and one at large.
Yeah, one for, yeah.
Thank you. So that is, my opinion, I would encourage our PAL people, our Wildlife Coalition people, other than spending your time to stop us from doing things, the hunters, the sportsmen, the women of Vermont, then maybe you join us in a habitat project. Come out, spend some time in the woods with us, get to know us. You might change your mind about what we are and not necessarily what a few people are. That is the problem nowadays. You know that with any of the politics in the nation and the world, it's one way or the highway. You don't like this, I don't like you. Well, it's not that way in Vermont, we all know that. But I work, I mean, the ladies that come to my women's event, they may have never picked up a weapon before, they may have not even understood how what systems work, but after spending some time with them and giving them a chance to shoot a weapon and know that it's not always for evil, I think that's what we need to get to. And I don't think this bill really gets us there. I mean, if you want to apply, please apply. And if you get on the board, good for you. And that's where you want to be, and then you can have your say and get your word out there better than what you're getting it out there now. What we see as a hunting community is, word out there is we want you gone. And that's not what we feel is correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Ann McKenzie.
Oh, do we have, is it Sam? She's.
Ann McKenzie?
I think she's here. She's here? Oh, my God. No, she's on the screen. So we have Mackenzie, she's on the screen.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Ms. McKenzie, I don't know if you can hear us. It's your turn.
Yes, hello, I am here. I'm sorry, I do not have a testimony. I emailed Jude yesterday to let her know that I will not be speaking today, but I would be attending. So you can go on to the next person. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then our next name on the list is Jennifer Lovett.
Okay.
Morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. I'm Jennifer Lovett. I live in South Starsboro. Used to live in Stamford, which nobody has ever heard of, for about 27 years, and moved up to South Starsboro about almost 4 years ago.
On Massachusetts border, right?
Yes, yes. The present system, I also want to just preface that I'm a conservation biologist, which my academic background. Not against hunting. The present system of rulemaking under the politically appointed board makes no sense in a world threatened by unpredictable and extreme climate events, biodiversity and habitat loss, and population levels from toxins like rodenticides that are impacting Vermont's predators in ways we're just beginning to understand. As a conservation biologist, the fact, I'm really nervous, I'm sorry. Slow down.
At the end of the table, it says guest, not witness.
Yes. As a conservation biologist, the fact that policies are routinely made with no basis in sound, peer-reviewed science is actually terrifying to me. The routine denial of evidence and facts that do not correlate with the traditionalist agenda screams out for a new dynamic for wildlife management. What are often referred to as honored traditions or cultural rights are in fact detrimental to ecosystems stressed by the climate crisis and human encroachment. It makes enormous sense to restructure the Fish and Wildlife Board to represent a more diverse, informed, and mutualistic approach to managing wildlife. In addition to the diversification of the appointment process, what I really like about Senate Bill 258 is the requirement for training in wildlife biology, coexistence with wildlife, ethics, reduction from human-wildlife conflicts, and impacts of climate change on wild species. Knowledge of and sensitivity to these issues seem to be completely lacking now. I've never understood actually why the board is the rulemaking agency rather than the department, which is staffed by trained biologists and ecologists. With the board completely composed of hunters, trappers, and anglers, none of whom have relevant educational credentials at this time, it's as if the fox has been put in charge of the henhouse. And only a fraction of the stakeholders in Vermont's natural resources are represented by this board. Recent surveys, one from 2017 that was conducted by UVM, and another by the Fish and Wildlife Department itself just last year, showed that up to 75% of Vermonters disapprove of recreational trapping. Yet policies always favor the 500 or so active trappers in the state, largely because this board acts entirely in its own interest, rejects majority opinion, and apparently even overlooks legislative mandates. This is not only unethical and imbalanced, but smacks of an entitled group gone rogue. S258 also seeks to ban, S258 also seeks to ban coyote hunting, an activity akin to dogfighting, which is illegal in this country. But unlike dogfighting, hounding impacts the surrounding environment as well as its many victims. There is no scientific basis for hunting coyotes as a means to control population or conflicts. In fact, the recreation flies in the face of any proven methods for successfully managing the species. Hounding is particularly egregious as it results in danger to non-target animals, people, pets, as we heartbreakingly heard earlier, livestock, the hounds themselves, and it is destructive to fragile ecosystems. Finally, but no less important, hounding tramples on the rights of landowners who do not want hunting on their property. Coyotes are persecuted terribly in Vermont all year long. We banned coyote killing contests in 2018. Let's ban coyote hounding now. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next guest is Linda Capapardo.
Sicilian, we can't spell, so we spell that phonetically. So if you say everything you see and write everything you hear, you'll always be right.
So let me try again then. Capapardo.
Absolutely perfect. See there? It's over. Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Linda Cacapardo. I live in Sheffield. I am absolutely in support of S-258. Because it will give non-licensed holders a seat. So that we can come to acknowledgement that there is more to Vermont than license holding, recreational hunting, trapping and fishing. There is a large proportion of folks that live in this state who would love to see leg hold trapping banned, and I am one of those. I am not opposed to hunting where you go out and you seek the animal that you wish to kill and kill it. But leg hold trapping is a whole different animal. It opens up, and there is no data to support that it's a benefit to wildlife to leg hold trap. Likewise, there is no demonstrated scientific data to support that hounding is a positive thing anywhere for anybody except for people that hound. Not for landowners, not for livestock, not for pets, not for people, not for anybody. But mainly having licensed holders on this board would give it a diversity of our state, would give people a voice where a lot of us, I think, are a majority of the opinion of the state, and so that we can move laws and regulations into 2020 and move forward. Like I said, I am not opposed to fishing, I am not opposed to hunting. But you do it in a sportsman-like, in an ethical-like way. You go out and you trap, seek, set yourself up to take an animal down. Not like you've released the hounds to go wherever they want to go, whenever they want to go, and you have no control over them. Or leg hold traps, which are literally booby traps that will take pets, that will take non-target animals, that will. I mean, there's no guarantee that a leg hold trap is going to kill what you want to kill. And leaving it in a trap for 24 hours to suffer that's disgusting. So I am in support of this bill, which will change the composition and give non-licensed holders representation where they, on some issues, are a majority of the electorate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So let me take a look around the room. Is anyone here who would like to testify that has?
Yeah, I thought it was on the list, Catherine Kingston.
Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I worked for the fishing game, was married to a game warden, and worked for the Forest Service in Idaho for 15 years. So it's not like a lot of us who are not license holders don't know about wildlife. A lot of us know about wildlife, we care about wildlife, and we do support ethical hunting. Thank you.
Thanks for aiding that up.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. The next, you are batting cleanup today.
Oh, I am?
Yes, Catherine Kingston.
Goodness, I can just sort of review everything. All right, thank you for
Yeah, good morning.
listening to me today. I'm from Westminster, Vermont, and I currently I'm involved in a lot of work, is there a lot of wetland in the town, I'm doing a lot of work with beaver habitat restoration and beaver human conflict. And I have a degree in zoology and a degree in environmental studies and have been an outdoors person since I was 4 years old and kicked out the door, so. I think that one of the things that the pall that is laying over all of us is a sense of divisiveness, and I think it's been coming from the country, you know, from our overall government down to us, and I really would love to see this divisiveness dissipated some, because I think that we do share more. Things are more, there are more grays. I was just spent a long time speaking to one of the old board members. And we don't agree, but we were able to have a conversation. You and I could have a conversation. I'm not opposed to hunting. I have dairy goats and chickens. I need to protect them from predators. I feel it's my responsibility to protect my animals from predators. I have coyotes all around me. If a mink gets into my chicken coop, I need to put electric wire around. So I just wanted to give you a little background on myself and the fact that I really hope the conversation can continue and that we not get pinholed into saying that we are all anti-hunting, we are all anti-whatever. The board is currently all consumptive users. I'd like to see it needs to have more diversity. We're entering complex times with population. Big population pressures and climate change. Species need to move. I'm also been on the planning commission and on the conservation commission. And we're trying to figure out how to help species continue to survive. And I think the board needs to have more science behind it. And so that's why I'm in favor of 258. And I understand there's concern about bureaucracy, but sometimes in order to make sure things get done responsibly, we have to be more responsible and take more steps. So to move on to the hounding aspect of it, I think that the hounding, if the board was reconstituted and was advisory, I think the hounding issue would probably come around, because I don't think there's any justification for hounding. If there's a coyote that's causing a problem, people now have the right to shoot that coyote. Hounding doesn't select anybody, it selects a random coyote, and who knows what happens in the end. So there's really no there's no ethical reason to continue that practice, and I think people have spoken to that. I think that pretty much, I think that the other issue I want to bring up is that the board has shown that they don't respond to constituents. And my understanding is the board is supposed to respond to the constituents of the state. And this poll out of UVM, majority of Vermonters do not want leg hole traps or foothold traps. They don't want trapping, and the board has not responded to that. So this is one thing that I think should be explored on a deeper level. And there are other states that have banned trapping, and ethically, we are at the point, we are human, we are capable of empathy. And we always should do our best to put ourselves in the hooves or feet of another being. And I'm hoping the board can do that. That is part of their job, is to imagine what is best for everybody. So I thank you very much. And thank you for bringing this forward. Yeah.
Thank you for coming in. So, that completes our testimony for today. We have another pretty full schedule again tomorrow, similar to today. And for anyone who's listening, or if you know someone who's on tomorrow's session, please make sure they know that the Zoom link provided in your invitation from the committee assistant is the one to use in order to participate in the meeting. If you go to the committee webpage on the legislative website, you can watch the meeting, but that doesn't make you an active participant. So Sorry for any confusion for anyone out there who didn't know that there's two ways to get to the meeting.